Before we adopt the agenda, I think Stéphane might have something to add to the agenda. Thank you, Mr. Warden. I'd like to add an item presentation 4.2. Operations Manager from Mainland Telecom. Also a revision to the agenda. We had a closed session. I'd like to remove it for this evening, the closed session on contract negotiations. Thank you. Are there other additions? We'd like to have a motion to adopt this, proposed by Councillor DeVoe and seconded by Councillor Goddell. Those in favor, motion carried. So we go to number 3. Are there any declarations of conflict of interest this evening? No? Enough we go. Number 4, 4.1. So Ryan Titus and Nathalie Robichaud. Thank you. Thank you for looking. We would like to talk about a consultative commission for youth. We present this mostly for the young people of Clare District High School. So this will be done with a project that's called Uplift. It's for community colleges and universities. That is partnered by the Dalhousie University. This is to related to for young people, and my role is to oversee the actions of young people and also do help with the young people to get involved. The project was financed by Public Health Nova Scotia and private funds. As I said, I am councillor for this area of the province. I work a lot with the young people. Okay.
You all know me. I am with the Société Acadienne de Clare for a few years. I work with the youths. I did this type of work. In the summer, I always hire about 2 or 3 students, and that's to help me really, because it's good to have 3 youths. For me, it's some sort of training for them for their later years, and it shows them how to work for the community and volunteer. So I profit from these summers to train them. I force them to go work with the Arts Council and different organizations. So when I did my new strategic plan last year, and we work on 5-year strategic plans, and we did a new one, and I included the young people, Sophie Leblanc and Evelyn Leblanc. I don't have the whole plan here, but I just put a plan of my acts. My second part, the Acts 2, as you can see, is to engage the youths. The orientation is to create occasions for the youths to develop themselves and participate in the community life. And to do that, the strategy is to develop a leadership aware of the Acadian culture and the Francophones, and it's for the youths aged 12 to 30. So the youths from 21 to 30 are often forgotten, so they work with their adults, but in this day and age, they are usually still in studies, and they're paying their student loans and stuff, so that's why we chose to include them. Then we have a lot of activities. I did not put them all here, but I put the most important ones for you. The projects that we wanted to do is to organize activities by and for the youths, put a youth committee in place that organizes activities for the youths, and the a cultural federation that includes the youth. So this committee works with the Acadian Society to work on projects. As Nathalie said, all the work we did was to work with the youths and those in schools, and I go directly to speak to the students with surveys and discussions to see how they can speak out and express their needs. And there are a lot who spoke about, and with Nathalie, about the stop signs that are in the area. They said that they would like to do more impact on the community. And a lot of their friends are not staying in Clare because they are not involved in the community, but we want to work with them so they can be more at ease. So we did a survey, and the survey with them, we asked 4 questions. In general, I was presently surprised with the results, and a lot of them are involved in some type of organization. They know that the youth population can have an impact on the municipal activities, and they think that the needs of the youths are considered in the programs that are put in place. So what their knowledge of the government of the municipality is not known. So they want to make a project with the community. They have good ideas, they want to do it, but to put it in place, they don't have the resources and don't know how. So that's where our committee falls in place. So we want to give them all the resources, what they need, so that they can be confident and supported by the committee so that they know that who to contact and in the community to see who their partners are. So we are here just to present to you this concept. It is done elsewhere. An example that we have is in Truro, which is the town of Truro. There is a position for a youth which does not have the right to vote, but we would like to have a committee here that would allow to come to the council once a month and to meet with you, maybe a smaller committee, to talk about the issues, what is going on in the council, how the youth can bring their opinions. So we just put our, we want to have 3 or 4 councillors. That can be determined later on, but we want you to help us to to make the students aware of what you are doing and what you feel you are contributing to the community and how the youths can get involved, and just talk about how the bylaws work. It might be less interesting for them, but we could have more discussions like the parks in Bellevosco, for example, and work on different projects, because that works with their perspectives. And eventually, when you will do your strategic planning, you will include the youth in your planning, to have a youth perspective in your planning. So that's all we are asking today. Eventually, if it works, it would become something bigger, maybe a seat, and have a formal committee. So with that committee, they could be shared responsibilities, and they work with the committee and work with the students at the school. And that's where we come in. We can answer questions and to meet with the counselors and see what we can do and answer the questions that they have and see what is going on and where the municipal office is, for example, and a tour of this building, for example, to see the environment and what you are working with, so that they know what is happening. And also, before they meet with you, you could look at the agenda before the meeting and look at the events going on and have suggestions of things that they can offer to enrich with new projects, and to have the youth participation, and for you also to meet with the students or the committee once a month and look at offering services. So we could come at the council meeting every 2 months, for example. So just to finish, something that's on our radar is a Youth Council of Canada. It's across Canada. It's an organization that offers a lot of support to the municipalities to do this work. So it's across Canada, and to be a member, it gives a lot of resources, PowerPoint presentations that we could use, different models. I'm not sure what the model would look like, but what would work in this area, but work with these students with conferences, to send youths to Ottawa or Winnipeg, for example, and eventually put something in place eventually, and if this works. So just so you know that it exists, and this is an idea for future.
There's our
So-
plan. Thank you for this. It's a nice initiative, and I was surprised to see all the numbers. I did not realize there was students involved at that point. Are there any questions from or comments? Councillor Potier. I really like that you're involving young people. Would it be advantageous for us to go and meet them at the school before they come here? Yes. We had talked to them in December, myself and Rcmp, and we received money we were going to bus a group of students to sit down, and we would prepare something, session on the local governance. I had given a handout with all of your names, your numbers, your phone numbers, and gave them to all those young people, and you challenged them to contact you. I don't know if they did or not. There maybe from that group there are some who have given us some feedback. So it opened the eyes of a few of them. So before that, because of this, so that they could have an impact with the involvement, getting the bilingual stop signs in the area. So yes, it might be a good idea that you come to school to meet them before. I would be interested to participate in this. I would be interested to meet them, and maybe some of them have already seen me in the school, but if they have questions before they come here, maybe we could start the conversation at the school rather than when they come here for the first time. So if anybody else wanted to join me, we could go with the school. Our first step would be to do some publicity. So if you're interested, you can tell us. We have the committee, the school year is coming to an end, but in June it's impossible to meet them, but if Natalie and I, maybe if we could meet them a couple of times before the end of the year to put certain things in place. And maybe during the summer we can still meet with some of them. And in September, that's when we will start to have more regular meetings. Are there any other questions? I think the members of council had met with them some time ago, and it was quite, I have just one question. Would it be possible to maybe meet other members of council. Councillor DeVoe. Have you, think you would really interested in this project? And of course, Como, maybe I can't go to all the meetings because I work, but I was just asking 3 or 4 councillors, how, do you have any idea how many young people you can regroup? I think we're gonna try to limit them for around 5 to see we have profound discussions with a more limited number of youths. So we then maybe later on we can involve more young people. There will be, I think I've been working with young people. For now they think it's cool to work with me, but I think it could be possible for us to reach about 15 people. The people we're working with now, there's grade 11 and a few from grade 12, and some of them we're already seeing people in grade 7, 8, 9 who seem to be interested in our project also, and then it will evolve over the years. I think originally we had thought it was the same committee, but I think the municipality has a different council. I think we thought that the comfort level will be developed over time. Are there any other questions or comments on this presentation? It's a nice presentation, and it's very interesting to see the survey. Is there the Conseil Finesse Provincial, does it have a role to play in this? I think historically they were mostly centered on Acadian identity, which has kind of not as important in the last few years, but it seems to me that they seem to be less based on Acadian identity lately, but I think it's not as popular as it used to be for that committee. I was also looking at the municipal governance. I spoke to a few of my staff here, and if you want to know, some members of the staff would be open if you see any need or value to see them. We're ready to help you, and I imagine we can go sync resources at the provincial level. All the municipalities have access to municipal advisors who are experts in the governance of municipal affairs when we consult them regularly. So I see the possibility that maybe Rayan could have a group of 5 or 6 people that we could meet these people regarding the governments of municipal entities. Also, the plan, a strategic plan, we have been discussing that we need to do an update on our plans, and we want to consult certain groups in the municipality. As far as workshops, have you started? Do they give them a syllabus or a curriculum, or is it more I'm saying yes because I don't know Uplift, but CVP, they gave us $3,000 or $4,000 to do something local regarding the mothership in Ottawa, and there are resources there and different models that we can use that pertains to local governance. So there are resources in Ottawa that might help us in develop a sort of curriculum. My answer is yes, but no. There are certain municipal policy plans, but this might be mostly regarding outdoor places. These say have discussed how youth are involved to offer services to develop outdoor places. I have given my ideas, but with the partnerships we have, then we ask if maybe we could change what they're doing, but we could axe our some of our activities on outdoor places. So it will.
My last comment, I can't speak for the councillors, but if once a month doesn't work with everybody's schedule, we could reduce the frequency, but also the Committee of Council meetings are open to the public, and there are places reserved for the members of the public who want to bring items that are discussed on the agenda, but it would be possible for us to add that contact person to our distribution list for the agenda, so the members of the committee would know what would be discussed at the next meeting of the council. So if we don't have a scheduled meeting with the councillors as such, they could come and observe and be present and ask questions. So that is another opportunity for them to live the experience, just for your information. I think it'll depend. You have meetings that you have that might be less interesting for the youth. We would avoid those, but we want meetings that are interesting for the youths. What do you mean? We don't want to scare them right away, just give them a chance. Any more questions? It appears that we have the consensus for the council. Once you have a group together, contact us again and we'll see what we can do. Thank you very much. Okay, we will go on to 4.2, a presentation, an update with Mainland. Nick?
Sylvie.
For squeezing me in today. I promise it will be not too long. I know that you provide monthly updates, so I thought maybe be a chance to come down and do it for you. And there probably won't be too many more updates on the Clare network project because we're kind of nearing completion. So anyway, thank you for having me tonight. And I thought I'd just touch on a few points and then allow you guys to ask any questions that you might have. So right now, I know when I say we're almost done completion, I'm sure there's some people saying, well, you're not here yet. So, you know, the original project was around 280 kilometers. That grew to about 300 or 310 kilometers through some expansions that were partially funded by DNS after the fact, as well as just some areas that we, you know, served ourselves. And, you know, right now we're probably, I want to say that by the end of June, most areas should be complete. There may be a few exceptions with difficult assessment areas or easement areas, or like an example would be Eel Lake Drive, where there's a lot of utility work that's been going on for several months, probably behind the scenes more than anything. But right now we're down in Salmon River at the fire hall putting an active cabinet in, and that will backfeed the next area that is going to be coming into service, which is Mavalette. Probably, I think, roughly around the Sea-Boudreau area down toward the Salmon River. And, by the end of the month, I think everything's been really positive so far from our end. We're always happy to hear good feedback, but we're always happy to hear not positive feedback too when that exists. So we encourage anyone to pass that along. We're always trying to improve our service. And we're young and we're growing, and we really appreciate the support from your community as we've done that. I'd say by the end of this month, we'll probably have 700 new subscribers in total on the network. So, in terms of households, that might be, a seventh of the entire household population down here. So I think we go around between 4,800 to 5,000 civics passed. Those aren't all completely audited because there's some abandoned places or, fish warehouses that aren't, ever going to be interested in a service. But anyway, those 700 subscribers, they would obviously all be internet at least, and then phone and TV subscribers. I know a lot of people are probably interested in where we're going with our TV service. So we do have one under development. It just takes some time to get approvals with the CRTC and the head end to where we get the signals to tie into that. But that is coming, and hoping that we're, within a few months away from that. So yeah, I just really wanted to provide kind of a geographical update, just let people ever know that things are going well, and really appreciate the support. And if you guys have any questions about, development or any, areas to be complete, happy to answer those. But otherwise, I think we're getting pretty close to the end of the build from, Weymouth down to Beaver River Road and Salmon River. So, and inland to, a lot of the lakes that have more than a few seasonal places on them. Yeah, I just want to say thank you for the council's support in the project. We wouldn't have been able to do it without you guys, and the community's support and uptake. That's been a relief to have, happy customers, and you guys definitely, this was our first fiber network, so you took a risk on us, but I think it's paying off for the most part, and we're trying to keep people happy, and we're trying to, we like to think that we're small enough and local enough that we can take calls from people and, find them, put them in touch with the right person quick enough to try to to solve unique situations, and we think that we can probably do that better than maybe calling into a call center somewhere else where you might not be able to get that kind of feedback or dialogue. And that's it for me. I just thought I was in the area today, so I thought, I appreciate you letting me pop in and do this. I see Yvonne once in a while when I get locked out of my car. But otherwise, I don't get to see the councilors much, but I am excited for the summer to be, it feels like it's almost here. It was a difficult few months in the winter from January to March, but hoping to keep some positive momentum going into the next few months and be wrapped up with what's been a pretty good project so far.
Thank you very much for that. I don't know if there's any questions or comments for.
Just want to make a comment. I'm not on Facebook much, but when I am, everyone who has provided feedback has all been positive for the service for internet. All positive, yeah. Yeah.
Super Fapotier.
What you said about user-friendly, we are, I like to talk to a person, not a machine, and we went through the process to get hooked up with you guys, and it was very easy. So the community, it's not hard to get hooked up with you guys. I like the service.
Sorry, we appreciate everyone's business, and every customer definitely feels like, it doesn't feel like you're last, but you treat them like you're last because you want to make everyone happy. And we know that in a community like this, definitely word of mouth gets around, and so far I think it's working in our favor, so we want to keep it that way.
Autre question? Councillor DeVille?
Any questions?
Elite Drive. Do you have a ballpark figure when they would, like, because that's one district, and they're always asking me when it's going to get done. So it doesn't have to be the exact, but
It's difficult to provide ballparks because we submitted the application to go on that pole line maybe 12 months ago at least. And it gets reviewed by both Bell and Nova Scotia Power review pole applications. And then that one was difficult because of lakefront poles going over water's edge, and it no longer meets the standards that the CCSA standards and the utility standards. So they had to go through a Transport Canada process and then, a whole engineering phase. And right now, I believe they're in the process of reaching out to, I think there's 8 households that they need to speak with about getting easements signed for new anchors or new poles. So, I mean, if that process is expedited, that's helpful. And I think everyone is in alignment to get that done. And I know that they were out there either last week or the week before and met with a group of people that lived out there to probably expedite that process rather than reaching out one-on-one. There was a few people that they couldn't get a hold of, but we hope that, their neighbors might nudge them to say, NSP might be looking for you for an easement to complete that part. And then once that part is done, then it gets tree trimmed, and that's been another challenge because it's, they have to climb to trim when it's lakefront, and it requires outages and coordination. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of pole work going on just across the province. So you have to, be quite loud to get, to make sure you maintain your place in the schedule. But I talk to Nova Scotia Power every week, so they do know that this has been outstanding for a long time. That's a long way of saying I'd like to be able to say, like, if it was just down to how much work is there to do, it should be 3 to 4 weeks of work. But it's just in terms of how easements get signed, and then tree trimming gets scheduled, and then their work gets scheduled, and then we can go lay our fiber. Those pieces I can't predict that well, but I do think we're close because I've been at them for so long on it, and they are doing the easement process right now. So. Thanks.
Any other questions or Councillor Douce?
Yeah, I want to thank you. I'm from District 1. That's where you started, and I want to thank you very much because we have a lot of happy campers, especially my wife, because she works from home. I was ready to I have no more here almost, but anyways. And you have good workers with you, like Todd and Josh Peter. They're very friendly people, and I want to thank you for that. My question is, I go to meetings with the firemen in St. Bernard. So I'm wondering if you have an update of when or if it's going to be hooked up to that fire hall, because there's no poles or something going through, and the overpass is an issue.
Yes, and thank you for your comment, and I do think your hair is starting to grow back a bit, actually, so. For the fire hall, that one's been another, like, in a network of 300 kilometers, there's going to be a handful of issues that come up that, the ball is in someone else's court for a little bit, and then when it comes back, you either get good news or bad news. It's just been a bit of a challenge on that one, but we had Nova Scotia Power stake out putting poles in the TIR boundary, or right-of-way, but we had to get property owners' permission to trim, and I will just say that some people didn't want trimming to take place, and other grievances maybe, and so we weren't able to proceed with that. But we can now plant those poles ourselves, and Nova Scotia Power has designed it, so we can do that. And there is a guy who does pole work for Bell as well, and he actually is coming down here on Saturday to look at the stakes and give us a quote on placing our own poles, and we don't need to do the trimming that we needed to do otherwise. So I know I've said, before, like, I think we're close. I thought we were close before because I had the guys out there trimming from the fire hall toward this to Riverside Road, but we got stopped halfway through. So it was a bit of a back to the drawing board thing, but there is a guy that's quoting the pole placements, and I think that work can happen pretty quickly. And yes, fully intend to extend that pole line to the fire hall. And I'm sorry that it's taken so long.
Anybody else have any? No? I mean, it's definitely nice to see the light at the end of the tunnel, that you guys can just imagine what you guys been through for connections, and it definitely opened up my eyes, and I'm assuming council as well, to how much permits are involved and different roadblocks in your path that slowed down the project, but it seems to be going quite well. Yeah, I'll definitely give you a call if ever I'm lost in any road in Clare. I'm sure you know one end to the other, but I mean, for the most part, I think it's going well. Then it'd be good. I don't know if Stefan, do you have anything else? Yeah. No? Thanks for the
Thank you.
Now we go to number 6, adoption. We're in number 5. We have adoption of the minutes. Adoption of the 5.1 is the meeting of the March 15th regular council meeting. Are there errors or omissions? If not, I need a motion proposed by Councillor Deveau and seconded by Councillor Godin. All those in favor? Motion carried. 5.2, April 6th, Council of Committee meeting. Are there errors or omissions on this one? If not, can somebody propose? Proposed by Councillor Potier, seconded by Councillor Nadine Como. Motion carried. 5.3, April 13th, special session of council. Are there errors or omissions on this one? If not, somebody can make the motion proposed by Councillor Deveau, seconded by Councillor Nadine Como. All those in favor? Motion carried. So we go now to business arising from previous council meetings. There's nothing there. Number 7, the warden's activity report. We can go to the warden. March 22nd, I went to a councillor for the Acadian Villa to discuss the process of naming a new director general. And the 23rd of March, we went to the Villa Acadian Council as with consultants to discuss ideas regarding the redevelopment of the actual site of the Villa Acadienne for the new villa, and what we're gonna do with the old building. On the March 29th, I went to a workshop on processes regarding the processes to direct to public meeting, and it was quite interesting with 2 councillors present. On the 28th of March, I went to a meeting of Council of Governors of Université Saint-Anne. We received an update on the strike and negotiations that are ongoing, so that we could be told where everything is. Then on the 30th of March, asset management meeting, and also a presentation of asset management plan for the municipalities. Some councillors were here and they explained our assets. Everything seems to be in order. On April 12th, I went to a meeting of the advisory committee of the architecture on the public spaces to revive conceptual plans for the Joseph and Marie Dugas Park and Major Point. We discussed the building there, and this will probably be presented to council soon. On April 12th, I also went to a panel presentation of two groups of the university, and there was presented by the CDNE, and it was regarding about they were making a presentation on the initiative of local buying here, and it was interesting to see there were 3 panels judging the students on their initiatives. I'm not sure who won because it almost looked like a tie with different groups. And April 12th, I also went to a meeting of the governance committee for the Villa Acadienne to make a revision of the organization and bylaw organization for a subcommittee that they formed to pass the bylaws, to update the regulations for the new building. On April 13th, I went to the wardens meeting to discuss correspondence with Mike Kalowicz, Minister of Fisheries and Oceans, and also an organization for people with Mr. Kalowicz, with key members of his department. It was mostly to try to meet with them before the end of the observed fishing season, Local 34, to see what are the action plans involving what will happen in the near future. On the 13th of April, I went to a meeting with the SAR architects and members of council, and to make the revision of the expansion of the Clare Health Center.
It's good to see that that's going forward. On April 19th, I attended a meeting of the governor of the board of directors of the Villa Acadienne to organize the bylaws. We had a bit of help from the Nova Scotia department that are helping us to refreshen it. That's the end of my report. Do you have any questions or comments on this? Councillor DeVoe? You mentioned the session in Uminus. I'm wondering if it is the desire of the other councillors if we could have a crash course, not necessarily the whole council, not the whole list of things, but just the things that are important to our council. That's something we could do, to have a separate meeting. We could do it. I don't know if Councillor Pachi is interested in just presenting the different things, or if somebody would be interested in coming to meet a small group of this council just to present the minutes or whatever. They do some small sessions like this. It wouldn't hurt. He has a good judgment. He realizes that not everything is perfect, but he knows the things that would be interesting. If it is the desire of the council, we could see if we could just have him and question him, if you all agree. I'll contact the individual. It is a general director in the province, but I can contact him to see if he can, and if he will, and how much it would cost. So it would be something that would be offered to the general directors of the municipalities, and I am registered in that session, and I will see him shortly, and we could organize something in the next weeks or month. Councillor Camo. They told us that it was a 3-day session in 5 hours. There was a lot of information for you or anybody who would want to participate. They could have a session of 3 days of 5 hours. Any more questions on my report? If not, we will go on to item 8, official statements from the members of council. Does anybody wish to? Councillor Nadine Camo. There are 2 members in my district, Scott Robichaud, who celebrated 25 years of wedding anniversary on April the 5th. Wondering if we could send them a certificate for their 25th wedding anniversary. Okay, we can send a certificate. It can be done. Anybody else? Any official presentations? If not, we will go on to item 9. 9.1, Honorable John Lohr, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing.
Deposit in the amount of $3,264.71 will be made to your municipal account from the 911 Cost Recovery Fund. As in past years, the purpose of this funding is to provide for the recovery of the incremental costs associated with the administration of civic addressing programs at the municipal level. I want to take this opportunity to express my thanks to you and your staff for the excellent support provided to the Nova Scotia 911 system, without which we could not continue to deliver the very high caliber of service that Nova Scotians have come to expect. Should you have any questions, please contact Dave Wilson, Director, Provincial 911 Emergency Management Office. Sincerely, John Lohr, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing.
So this is financing that we receive every year. Usually we receive it late in the year. We did not expect it, but we have confirmation from the province. It is good news that it is now in. Any comments on this? If not, it's nice to see money coming in and nice letters to have. 9.2, Haley Christian, Executive Director, the Public Safety and Security Division, Nova Scotia Department of Justice. So the letter here is a confirmation of something that we were already advised at the beginning of the year, that there would be an increase. It is not specific to Clare, but every municipalities in the province have seen a considerable increase for the services of the RCMP. At the beginning, we thought it would be over 20% because there are salaries that are retroactive over the years, but that's not the case for now. So 11.04% is what we were suggested to increase in our budget, and that's what we had. That's what we did. So it confirms again information that we had earlier in the year. Any questions or comments? If not, that's not as good as the last one, but we knew it was coming. 9.3, Joseph Finney, Chair of the Board of Directors of PVSC.
On April 8th, the provincial government introduced Bill 149, the Financial Measures 2022 Act, in the legislature. Within this bill are the provisions for the Provincial Non-Resident Deed Transfer and Property Taxes Act. It establishes a provincial 5% deed transfer tax and provincial property tax on residential properties purchased and owned by non-residents of Nova Scotia, as defined by the provincial government. I write as chair, as of April 8, 2022, of the Board of Directors of the PVSC to advise that the corporation was not involved in the drafting of this legislation, nor is it a program that is under the administration of the PVSC. While staff of the province informed PVSC staff that the government was proceeding with drafting legislation in keeping with the government's political platform in this regard, the details and substance of the draft legislation were not shared with PVSC. We learned the specific details, as many of you have, through the tabling of the legislation in the House on last Friday. We understand the Minister of Finance and Treasury Board may have informed the Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities and the Association of Municipal Administrators prior to the introduction of the bill, but PVSC was not part of these discussions. The government has released revenue estimates associated with collecting these provincial taxes. Again, PVSC was not involved or consulted in the determination of these estimates. It is of particular importance to the board that the corporation's role as administrator of property assessment in Nova Scotia is and is perceived to be separate and distinct from those who levy and collect property tax. We note in Bill 149 that the Minister of Finance and Treasury Board has the authority to direct PVSC to send owners' declarations forms to residential property owners. Furthermore, the corporation must provide access to all information required by the administrator of this provincial tax. The corporation will represent the government that this cannot compromise the function of PVSC's administration of property assessment, nor will any costs associated with these provisions be borne by the 49 municipal members of the corporation. Once the legislation is passed and proclaimed, Finance and Treasury Board is understood to be responsible for administrating this program. PVSC will update municipalities on any substantive developments regarding these issues. Sincerely, John Feeney, Chair, PVSC Board of Directors.
Questions or comments on this letter? There's other information more than what's been presented in this letter. It's evolving from day to day, and I know, and I'm seeing with colleagues and other councils that some of them have written a letter to the provincial government to express their thoughts and their concerns regarding these actions. I think that there's something that you want to do, anything, but I just wanted to make you see what is going on and if it's something that you want to consider in a future meeting. It will have an impact on the community. Councillor Godin? Does it look that we have to give the 2% to the province? I do not have an answer for this. There's nobody in the province that has contacted me to pick up this 2%. But the discussions I've had and the indications I have been given is that it would be collected by the province. We were talking that these funds would be picked up for affordable housing and wouldn't go in general revenue. There's a lot of questions that have been asked, and there's less answers than questions because it's a situation that's evolving every day. So I'm just know what's going on, but by what goes on in the news, what I hear from the news reports. Are there any other comments or questions on this subject? So we go now to number 10, presentation of the operational budget and corresponding motions. Good evening. The budget that we present this is a budget of 11,000,000. This is an object that presents no increase as from previous years. It's a budget that we have seen at the 13th of April meeting. So I won't go too much in detail, but we'll go for the general items because it's already been seen by council. So if we go on page 3, you have the budget in front of you for the tax revenue. We have an increase of 7 million 8,500,000 and
It includes also the deed transfer tax and the taxes that we are charging for sewers in Meteghan Center, Church Point, Meteghan River, and Belleville's Cove. Again, when we look at the grants in lieu of taxes, that is monies that we receive from the federal and provincial governments of 172,081.
Are there questions or comments on that one? So at the next page, we go in revenues, others, then the tax for the land transfer tract. We have in the revenue $345,000. Then we have other revenues, the revenue of 607,351, and construction permits for community development. We have a revenue of 151,772 from tourism and recreation, for a total in that page of for this section 759,123. Are there questions or comments on this one? You said 345 on land transfer tax. There's landfill tipping fees for this calculations. Yeah, I'm giving too much to the deed transfer tax. Other things. If we go on page 5, the revenue for some grants from the government, we have 632,717. These are municipal capacity grant, French language services, and also community account also. Any questions on this? Next page. So we start with the expenditures. $70,000 for expenses for low-income exemptions and appeals. We have received 70,000 there. We have for warden and council $232,260 for conferences, honorariums, mileage for council. Also for administration salaries, we have And our IT support, it was, and as grants to organizations, 1,432,629. Okay, these are the reports for organizations that will be approved tonight for council. First of all, Clare Bluegrass Association, $10,000. Electric City New Welfare Society, $800. J&M Foster for Cats, $2,000. Société Historique Acadienne de la Baie Sainte-Marie, $5,000. Beliveau Cove Development Commission, $5,000. Commission de développement du Moulin, the museum in Bangor, $900. Clare Curling Association, $5,000. Clare Golf and Country Club, $5,000. Southwest Soccer Association, $5,000. Mavillette Seniors, $3,000. École secondaire de Clare, $2,000. Conseil des Arts de la Baie, $2,000. Bushi Monkey Karate, $2,500. Far Out Festival Youth Group, $1,000. Weymouth Waterfront Development Committee, $750, for a total of $49,950. Also, there were two that came through Recreation Association Gymnastique de Clare, $2,000, and Association Minor Soccer of Clare, $500. That's it for grants to organizations.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on this page? If we go to the next page, these are all protection services in Clare. To follow what Stefan mentioned earlier, all the costs for RCMP, it will be $1,344,658. That includes also the DNA testing and prosecution services. There is $120,000 for corrections. We have $40,100 for the other law enforcement. When for the fire departments, we budgeted $1,022,370. That includes in expenses we collected in area rates. That is included in that amount of $700,132. We have $58,000 for EMO. We have a budget from $196,084 for the building inspections, and we budgeted $40,410 for seniors and security, for a total in protection services of $2,821,622. Any comments on this? If we go to the next page, transportation services, we are budgeting $116,283. That includes what we give to Transport de Clare and the maintenance of the sidewalks and streetlights. Any questions or comments? Next page, Public Works and sewer system. So we are budgeting $266,674. That includes, like I said, all public works as well as the sewer treatment centers for Metegan, Church Point, and Beliveau Cove. Any questions or comments? The next page is everything that has to do with waste services. We budgeted 1,482,318 for waste management. That includes the tipping fees that we pay for recycling, for the compost, and includes also the garbage collectors by the roads. And it includes also what we pay to administration of waste check. Any questions or comments? Next page is the Health Center of Clare. We budgeted $800,706 for the Clare Health Center. That includes the salaries, medical supplies that the doctors need, the services for the Nova Scotia Health Authority, and also the maintenance and repairs. And also, we have a budget of $52,716 to the Housing Commission for a total in health services of $886,389. Any questions or comments? Next page is the Environmental Development Services. We budgeted $162,000 for planning and all the question of accessibility. We have a mandate from the province that needs to be accomplished by 2030. So we also have $47,760 for Regional Enterprise Networks, or REN, for a total of $209,760 for Environmental Development Services. Any questions or comments? At the next page, when we look at the budget for community development, we have a total of $950,820. That includes $189,839 to tourism, $242,846 to recreation, and $189,837 for community development. That includes also our contribution to the Acadian Congress and the welcoming community. For all our buildings except administrative building, health center, and public buildings of public works, the total is $218,754 for buildings and playgrounds. Also for cultural services, we budgeted $27,750. That includes the contribution to the Acadian Festival and Rails to Trails. There's also $5,000 that we send to the Yarmouth Hospital Foundation. So the total for the community development and cultural services is $1,167,323. Any questions or comments? At the next page, it's the contribution we make to the schools, which is $1,841,230. So that completes the budget starting April 1st, 2022 until 31st of March 2023. Thank you for that. Any questions or comments? It's a big work where everybody works together and it balances at the end again this year. I don't know if we can move on to the motions corresponding to the budget. We go to 10.1, motion to adopt municipal tax rates. Anybody wish to make the motion on this? Moved by Councillor DeVoe, I will make the motion. I move that the tax rates for the municipality for 2022-2023 for the municipality of the District of Clare be as follows. $1.04 per $100 of assessment as the residential and resource tax rate. And it is the same rate since 2014. We have not changed anything since then. And $2.07 per $100 of assessment as the commercial tax rate, and it is the same since 2010. And 25 cents per acre if there is less than 50,000 acres, and 40 cents per acre above 50,000 acres as the forest acreage rates. Seconded by Councillor DeVoe. Moved by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Councillor Godet. Any questions? All those in favor? Motion carried.
10.2, motion to adopt sewer service charges. I move that the municipal sewer service charges for 2022-2023 be set at $220 per unit for the following: Metegan Center, Metegan River, Church Point, and Billywos Cove. Proposed by Councillor Potier, seconded by Councillor Godet. Ready for the question? All those in favor? Against? Motion approved. 10.3, motion to adopt street light area rates. Councillor, I move that the 2022-2023 rates for street lights be set as follows: Highway 1 to Patrice Road, Church Point, $61.55. Highway 1, Little Brook and Comoville, $37.80. Highway 1, Sonyville, $55.05. Highway 1, Metegan River, $58.13. Placid Como Road, Metegan River, $73.40. Highway 1 and Peter Digo Road, Metegan, $37.71. Highway 1, Sebanor and Billywos Cove for $37.35. Proposed by Councillor Nadine Como. Second by Councillor Doucet. Motion carried. 10.4, motion to adopt fire department rates. Somebody move this motion. Councillor Godet. I move that the 2022-2023 fire department rates be set as follows: fire protection, 5 cents per $100 of assessment, and fire truck purchase, $6 per $100 of assessment. Proposed by Councillor Godet, seconded by Subwarden Deputy Warden Potier. All those in favor? 10.5, motion to adopt due date and interest commencement date. Somebody, Councillor DeVoe. I move that the due date for payment of 2022-2023 municipal taxes be June 30th, 2022, and the interest rate be 1.5% per month, beginning on July 31st, 2022. Proposed by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Councillor Nadine Como. Motion carried. 10.6, motion to adopt 2022-23 municipal operational budget. Councillor Godet. I move that the 2022-2023 operational budget for the municipality of the District of Clare be approved as presented on Wednesday, April 20th, 2022. Proposed by Councillor Goda, seconded by Councillor DeVoe. All those in favor? Motion carried. Thank you. Jeanette. So we go to number 11, the Chief Administrative CEO's report. This is the project in course for the big project for the Veterans Center. We're still waiting for news from the federal government, but essentially it is not a problem. Everybody who have asked for financing there are in the same boat for what is of the health center. The expansion project is going ahead. Tell us, the warden has mentioned in his report, but the conceptual plans and the rendering plans have been presented to council at a meeting on the April 13th, and it was accepted by council. We will meet with the doctors at the center to show them the proposed plans for the expansion. This will be held on April 27, next Wednesday. The submissions, grants are being developed now, the tenders, so we hope to produce the tenders very soon. And some people, our invitation to come and visit the center to discuss our participation. We hope to have these people to come and visit the center soon for what our projects of public spaces for tourism. The Joseph Marie Dugas and Plata Mahor, they met with Gary Yost Architects on April 12, 2022, and we looked at different conceptual plans for the building and also the boat, the Jean-Béliveau boat, and which would be put inside the building. What's interesting with the way this project is being, it would be interesting, but the boat would be accessible to everybody. The actual design now, where there will be a large place for the market, and also there are other things that we can have for inside this building. For the major point part, we propose to elevate the land a little bit because some of them have flooded during the spring. So we're also talking about a new site to welcome visitors at the site. Our intention is to finalize the conceptual plans of these two things in May, to make a presentation to council and the committee of council meeting in May. For the Cap Sainte-Marie, the interpretive center, the plans for what will be done inside the Lighthouse. We are revising what is going to be done with the manager of tourism. Consultants have given us, they're doing work on the artifacts that were promised for the site. The design for the center and the interior of the Lighthouse will be concentrated on the fishing industry, the lobster industry, and tuna fishing, other types of fishing, and artifacts of the old lighthouse that will be in there, and also a place information for visitors who come to the lighthouse. Barcon that we hired to was there today to look at the plan of the entire park, so that work also is going forward. For what concerns our wayfinding sign system, we received the conceptual plans for directional and wayfinding signs. I have read them for the first time today, but including a map of different areas proposed throughout the municipality. So our intention there is also to present them at the beginning of May at our council meeting. As far as the housing plan, we bought, as you know, 2 pieces of land recently. We are now planning the purchase of 2 other lots of plans for this initiative. The consultant is also developing a conceptual plan, which we haven't received yet, and we hope we will receive it before the end of this month, because, as you know, our agreement with this consulting group finishes at the end of this month. So the financing for this finishes at the end of April.
For the sidewalks in Meteghan, our financial request was presented to the federal government through the Active Protection Fund, and we are waiting for a reply. Municipalities are eligible to submit projects for new sidewalks or repairs to present sidewalks. The maximum that is allowed as a federal contribution is 60% of the eligible cost for the project. And the budget that we submitted, we're looking at a budget of $1,500,000. Our project for the extension of the sewer system in Meteghan along the Sunset Road, the application was also sent to the federal government for the investment in Canada for that program. In that program, the municipalities can apply for projects that include drinking water, sewer system, wastewater, and projects that will reduce or address pollution in the ground. The maximum that is allowed in that project is a federal contribution, federal 73.33%, and the total cost of that project, based on the budget that we submitted, is $1,493,000. So for the Clare plus HST, for the Clare transfer station and the repairs for following the fire are still going forward. All the electrical work and the lighting has been completed. The motors have been installed for the pumps and they operate, and the exhaust fans had been damaged by the fire. They have been replaced and or repaired. The loader that was sent to Strong Co. in Dartmouth for major repairs, I saw photos today, and it is essentially completed. It should be delivered to us on Friday of this week if everything goes well. And presently we are waiting for a quote for the girt that was bent, the exterior wall, and insulation at the ceiling. So these are the biggest parts of the repair that are necessary. The exterior wall will need to be sandblasted and repaired, but we are looking at spray foam to replace it. With the transfer station also, as you know, we have a motion later on the agenda. We are looking at the construction of a new building for supplies as well as an alarm system. We submitted a project to the federal government under the Green Environment Quality Stream. Maximum again is 73.33%, maximum of the federal and provincial contributions. And here we are looking at a project of $284,000 plus HST. And the washrooms on the Maxwellton and Bournemouth roads have been installed. The installation is now complete. They are not open yet to the public, but that will be done in May. And it will be coordinated when the provincial sites will open their parks and areas. The track and field, not much news there, but the work will be resuming shortly. As you know, the work stopped in December because of the temperature. The project is about 70% complete. All that remains is the installation of the asphalt and the rubber coating over the asphalt. We think the work will restart in May and hope that everything should be completed by July. Clare Search and Rescue, the renovations to the buildings are completed. That's good news. The project at the Wentworth Park is going on. We did a survey of the parking. We did test holes that will help us to establish where we will have new washrooms. We have preliminary designs that are being made for that now. With JD Composites, they will surely do the building. And Upland, which is the firm that is looking at the project with us, are revising the construction budget. So that project is starting to go forward. The water hole at the Veterans Building is going well. The dry hydrant and site has been cleaned. You saw the fencing around the hole has been installed. So all we need there is the geotextile and the gravel around the fence. For the multi-use court at the Havelock Hall, there is no news there yet. The financial request has been submitted to the Department of Heritage and Cultural of the province. We are waiting for a reply from the province. We are looking at a project of $80,296 plus HST. The boundary review, as you know, C&D Community Design has been hired as our study for the boundary review to look at the numbers of councillors, the number of districts, as well as the boundaries of each district inside the municipality. And that is required by the Municipal Government Act of 369, and it is starting slowly. We will have an initial meeting with the council members in May, if possible, and the meeting for there is to look together at and have your comments on the analysis or the last analysis from Syntec to look at the system, the number of boundaries, etc., and have numbers. And in their tender, they are proposing a methodology to consult the public, so they want to make sure that you agree with the municipal methodology that is proposed. Also, they are also developing a page for the boundary review for our website, and there will be text that will be prepared for our website. And I know Amy has been in contact with Caroline Robertson, which is the principal of the company. As we go forward in the process, there will be advertising in the media, Clare Shopper Le Courrier, as well as a survey online. Finally, at the financial level, the municipality is still in a good financial situation. As of March 31st, 2022, at the end of our fiscal year, the municipality has recorded $9,800,373 in revenues versus $9,433,200 223 in expenses for a surplus of 367,150. Again, as of March 31st, municipality has a balance of $409,850 in its operating fund, $46,856 in its capital fund, and a total reserve balance of $6,699,029. The total, this amount can be broken down as follows. Operating reserve, $2,088,036. Capital reserve, $3,474,762. Landfill closure reserve, $335,651. And our gas tax reserve, $800,580. So again, we are in good position financially. And that is my report. Thank you for this. Do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you. It's good to see that our budget is on track. So we go now to number 12, committee reports to building permits. 12.1, building permits, the absence of Councillor Danny Hill. Maybe Councillor Dusa could do this. Yes. If we look at the end of March 2021, we had 44 permits for a total of 32,011,633. And in March 2022, there was 39 permits in 2022 for a total of 2,467,580. So there's a big difference, probably because of the Villa Acadienne that was high last year. Thank you for that. Are there any questions or comments on this report? Yes. If we go, then we go on new business, number 13. 13.1, motion to write a letter of support to Transport of Clare. We've been approached by the director of Transport de Clare to, they will ask money to the federal funds for 2023 and 2024 to upgrade a couple of their vans and a bus. So essentially they want to upgrade 2 small vans that would accommodate more passengers than they have now, and they also look at the electric models because for them it makes more sense, because most of what they're doing is about 50 kilometers zone with the price of gas and as it is today, and also the frequency of trips that they're doing. They judge that going to electric would be more economical on the long run. So they also want to add a new bus to accommodate 2 wheelchairs and 16 passengers. So we have discussed this before here, that regarding this service that they give to our community, we recommend that we would be willing to give them a letter of support for their federal grant proposal. Are there any questions? Somebody will do the motion. Councillor DeVoe. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare write a letter to the Transport de Clare in support of its application in Infrastructure Canada's Rural Transit Solutions Fund. Proposed by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Councillor Nadine Comeau. Those in favour? Against? Motion carried. 13.2, motion to award the tender for the storage building and the fire detection system at the transfer station. This is, as I said in my report, we're asking for financing to the federal government to help us to play a part of this to the construction of this building. Meanwhile, we would like to give the contract. We had launched a tender and had received submissions, and there were 2 companies who submitted proposals, and after revising them, they were quite close, but we recommended to go with the lowest, which comes from Garian Construction Limited for $159,000. And the alarm system was separate, which we was given to Chubb system for $34,000 for a total. Given earlier, the intention would be to make a proposal to give these conditional on the acquisition of the funds to looking at the submission by Garian, we would give them the proposal that they could start in the late summer or at the beginning of fall. So we want to give them the go-ahead so that they can will be able to do the work when the time arrives. So essentially, we're looking for a motion to give the contract to Garian and at Shop Fire Securities Canada for the amount. And the intention is to go look for financing to try to reduce our contribution to 26.7%, which would give us about $82 for us. Questions or comments on this motion? Will somebody do the motion? Conseillère Comeau. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare award the tender for the construction of a 30 by 50 storage building and the installation of a fire detection system at the transfer station as detailed below for a total of $294,862 plus HST, and that these funds be taken from the municipality's capital reserve. Treated by 50 storage building, Garian Construction Limited, $259,995 plus HST, fire detection system, Chubb Fire and Security Canada, $34,867 plus HST. Proposed by Councillor Nadine Comeau, seconded by Deputy Warden Potier. Motion carried. 13.3, a motion to write a letter to the Department of Fisheries, Oceans and Canadian Coast Guard. This is just a letter that we want to write. We discussed it at the last meeting when we replaced the old foghorn at the Cape St. Mary's foghorn. The new one is more sensitive, and we have a lot of complaints and comments because of members, residents local there, that the noise was too frequent and too loud. So we also questioned the place they chose to put this foghorn. So we would like to ask for DFO to give them these concerns of the populations, and maybe we would like to change the location of this horn. We'd like to have a discussion with them, either to change it or maybe adjust the tone or the volume of the horn, and also discuss the proposal of a new placement of this apparatus. So what we're looking, the motion tonight is just that we want council's approval to send this letter to DFO. Somebody want to do the motion? Deputy Warden Potier. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare write a letter to the Department of Fisheries, Oceans and the Canadian Coast Guard planning concerns relating to the new foghorn at the Cape St. Mary Lighthouse Park. Proposed by Deputy Warden Potier, seconded by Councillor DeVoe. All those in favor? Motion carried. 13.4, motion to make a donation to the Centenary Commission of St. Alphonse Church. St. Alphonse Church, they are celebrating their 100th anniversary, and a group of volunteers were put together to have a committee of the centennial, and they're working very hard to organize and plan celebration activities around the church. And they asked us, I think they spoke to me and Conseiller Como, that to see if we could help do a bit of a donation to help them prepare this celebration. We're not talking of a big amount of money. We're just talking about around the $500, and I think it's a group of volunteers that are very active in the community and the parish, who are working very hard on this project. So since they are volunteers and we don't celebrate 100 anniversaries every day, our recommendation that we give them a donation of $500. Any comments here? Is somebody did? Conseiller Como? I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare make a donation in the amount of $500 to the Comité du Centenaire to support of the 100th anniversary celebrations planned for the St. Alphonse Church.
Moved by Councillor Como, seconded by Deputy Warden Poitier. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. 13.5, a motion to grant a tender on the mowing of the grounds at Cape St. Mary Lighthouse Park. Yes, we brought out a tender call to look at the maintenance of the grounds, especially the lawn mowing. It's a 3-year contract. The last contract concludes at the end of March, so it's time to renew it. We had a tender call. We received 3 tenders, and after evaluation of those 3, it is the recommendation of the staff and myself to grant the contract to Robert DeVoe at the cost of $3,300 per year. Questions or comments on this? If not, would anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor Gadet? I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare award the 3-year contract for the mowing of the grounds at Cape St. Mary Lighthouse Park to Robert J. DeVoe in the amount of $3,300 per year. Seconded by Councillor Doucette. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. 13.6, a motion to grant a tender to the cleaning of public washrooms at Cape St. Mary Lighthouse Park. There also, we brought out a tender call for the cleaning of the washrooms. We only had 1 tender, and this is a 1-year contract. The tender that we received was from Gail Maya, and she did it for us last year also, and the cost is in line with what we had budgeted of $2,500. She did a good job last summer, so it is the recommendation of the staff and myself to grant her the contract for the fiscal year 22-23. Questions or comments on this? Nope. Does anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor DeVoe? I moved that the council for the municipality of the District of Clare award the one-year contract for the cleaning of public washrooms at the Cape St. Mary Lighthouse Park to Gilmaya at the amount of $2,500. Moved by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Councillor Doucette. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. 6.7, motion to purchase land in the Littlebrook Road. We have the opportunity to purchase a piece of land at the Littlebrook Road. It is essentially a piece of land that is attached to the bigger piece that we just purchased to look at the possibility of housing development. So it is a 1 acre, but because it is attached to the bigger piece that we just purchased, there is a strategic value there for us. So the owner of the property wants to sell it for $10,000, and at that price, it is in the best interest of the municipality to purchase it, and then we have a control of what will be developed there. So if not, it can protect our investments on the bigger piece of land by creating a buffer. So that being said, it is my recommendation that we proceed with the purchase of the 1 acre land. NIP is 30031041 at the amount of $10,000 at the Littlebrook Road. Any questions or clarifications on this? If not, does anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor Godin? I move that the council for the municipality of the District of Clare purchase the 1 acre parcel of land located on the Littlebrook Road at the amount of $10,000, and that these funds be taken from the municipality's capital reserve. Moved by Councillor Godin, seconded by Councillor DeVoe. Ready for the vote? All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. 13.8, a motion to name a road Talala Drive. I might have thrown in a la too much. That's a new song in my head. Thank you, Mr. Warden. We were approached by an individual to name the road in question in English Talala Drive, or in French Promenade Tralala. The individual, as you know, if you looked at the map, he owns all the land. So regarding the percentage of owners, it's one owner, so he has 100% support for the name in question. So it is the recommendation of the staff that we accept the name as requested in English, Talala Drive, in French, Promenade Talala. You have the identification numbers there included in the motion. There are 12. No point in reading them all, but this is the terrain in question. Any clarifications? If not, does anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor DeVoe. Thank you. I move that the council for the municipality of the District of Clare approve the request to name the shared road by property identifications numbers. There are 12 listed as follows. In French, Promenade Talala, in English, Talala Drive. Moved by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Councillor Godin. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. So that concludes the motions for this evening. Item 14, closed session. We have no item there, so we are at item 15, date and time of the next regular meeting, Wednesday, May 18th at 2022 at 7 p.m. So good evening to everybody on the site. We need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Doucette. Good evening.